I'll take a question now from Rob from Sky.
Thank you, Rob Powell, Sky News. Chancellor, I guess by their nature, these are long-term projects. But given your government keeps U-turning on short-term projects, how can anyone have any faith that you'll see through this big long-term plan?
Well, I'm not going to apologise for making long-term plans. We've already signed off a third runway at Heathrow, a second runway at Gatwick, the Oxcam corridor. We are already investing in a Transpennine route upgrade. Electrification has already happened between Stalybridge and Manchester. It's happening between Huddersfield and Leeds. So these are not hollow promises. They're things that my first budget unlocked at £120 billion of additional capital spending. Is why, as well, we're able to sign off Sizewell C and small modular reactors. We've got a plan for growth. It is the right plan. It is based on bringing investment into the UK. Yes, in this case, in terms of rail, but that rail is just the start of it. This is about attracting more investment, both domestic and global, to the north of England, with better housing, more good jobs, paying decent wages. And just on the sort of story today, which I must say I do think has been rather overwritten on digital ID. The Prime Minister said last year that to be able to work in the UK, you would need to be able to verify electronically, digitally, that you had a right to work here. That is absolutely the case. The question is whether you can use an e-passport or an e-visa or a new digital ID. To be honest, I'm pretty agnostic about that. What I don't want is people who are illegal in this country working illegally in this country and undercutting workers that are already here. That is the commitment we made, and that is a commitment we are delivering on. Catherine from GB News.
13 U-turns and counting. What do you say to people who are not sure that this government knows what it's doing? Thank you.
Well, first of all, in my first budget, first spending review, we unlocked £11 billion for the Transpennine route upgrade, something that the previous government promised on many occasions but never managed to deliver. Now, that is a service that many of us here use frequently, and now you can feel the difference when you leave Manchester and go to Stalybridge. It's electrified. It's not electrified between Stalybridge and Huddersfield, but we will electrify it. It then is electrified again between Huddersfield and Leeds. That's only possible because of the money that we have put in. So when people say, how can we believe that you're going to make this transport investment, I say, start to judge us on our record, because already we are delivering for the north of England with better transport infrastructure. And by breaking down Northern Powerhouse Rail into 3 phases, this is not something that will be in 20 years' time. This is something that we'll see in the early 2030s. But it's not the only investment. Whether it is mass transit in West Yorkshire, new tram stops, and new metro stops in the northeast, or in Greater Manchester, we are already delivering on the commitments we've made. And as I just said in my answer to Rob, you know, if you are going to get fixated on whether it is one particular form of digital ID to verify you can work, oh, that's fine. I care about the practicalities and what we're trying to achieve. And what we're trying to achieve is to stop illegal immigration into the UK. And at the moment, you don't have to verify electronically, digitally, that you have a right to work in this country. Ergo, we have a lot of people working illegally in this country. We're cracking down on that in a way the previous government didn't do, and we remain committed to that. We've got a plan to grow the economy. We were the second fastest growing economy in the G7 last year, according to the IMF. We've had 6 cuts in interest rates. Inflation is on the way down. People are getting £150 off of their energy bills from April, as well as rail fares and prescription charges being frozen. We've got a plan. We're sticking to it, and we're delivering for working people. Yep.
Thank you. Tim Wallace of the Daily Telegraph. Chancellor, you said you want to help pubs. You also said you want to help with the cost of living. Are you reconsidering next month's increase in alcohol duty? It's going up 3.66%, which is an extra squeeze on the sector.
No, I set out the budget on November the 26th, including uprating by inflation those duties. So they are going up as planned, but only in line with inflation. The key cost of living offer that we made in the budget was £150 off of the average energy bill, freezing rail fares for the first time in 30 years, and freezing prescription charges for the second year in a row. As a whole, the Office of Budget Responsibility say that will take around 0.4, 0.5 percentage points off of inflation, and that should give confidence to the Bank of England in terms of cutting interest rates. We've already had 6 cuts in interest rates since I became Chancellor in July 2024, taking hundreds, in some cases thousands of pounds off people's mortgages after the disaster that was done to people's mortgage rates and their living standards under Liz Truss and the Tories. I mean, I think they're still in the Tories. Who knows? Who's got the next question? Yeah.
Thanks, Chancellor. It's Josh Halliday from The Guardian. You've spoke about the understandable cynicism that people have. One way to answer that might be to give detail on the money behind it.
Yeah.
You've mentioned 1.1 billion in this spending review. Can you say how much will be allocated to this in the next spending review, or give a rough idea? And secondly, if I can, 4 years ago, Labour described the Tories' NPR as an absolute betrayal and called it the Great Train Robbery. That version looks very similar to this. Is this just a massively watered down version of what the mayors actually wanted?
Well, look, the mayors can speak for themselves, but this project has the backing of all the mayors, and the big difference between Tory promises and what I'm setting out today is that this is got money behind it. £45 billion envelope for this investment. It is important that we set an envelope and set a cap, because all the lessons, and Peter will know this better than most, all the lessons from HS2 is a failure to have a plan when it was announced with a route, the failure to have an envelope or a cap, but also the failure to phase it, but just to think of it as one project, are the things that led to these huge cost overruns. And also, it's not just the money we're announcing. The Planning and Infrastructure Act means it will be quicker and easier to get the planning permission and get this over the line. And this is not just about rail. This is also about new housing. I was with Andy and Steve in Stockport before the last general election, seeing the amazing investment into housing and business there, connecting Manchester city centre and Stockport, I think 8 minutes on the train. So using the transport infrastructure to connect people with jobs, with more affordable housing. I want to see that in more parts of the country, which is why we are fast-tracking housing development around stations, because the infrastructure is already there. So investment by the government and with mayors in transport to unlock tens of billions of pounds more of growth in our northern towns and cities. And together with Tom Reardon, who we've appointed as our Northern Growth Envoy, we'll be publishing more details of our Northern Growth strategy in the spring.